Hello, my name is Shilpa Hattangdi, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Communication Media for Children. Today, our session is on interpersonal communication. Let us look at the learning objectives of this session. Today, the students will learn about definitions and types of interpersonal communication, understand the process of interpersonal communication, understand the importance of interpersonal communication in our lives, look at the different components of interpersonal communication, and explore different technologies that one uses to communicate nowadays. Interpersonal communication is communication between people. It may involve two or more people, face to face communicating with each other, or it could be through a written medium like a letter or an email or a message. It could also involve body language, it could involve facial expressions. Humans over centuries have mastered communication skills and turned meaningless grunts into spoken words and written words. Language has evolved a long way. Through these words, they were able to express their needs, wants, wishes, emotions, desires, feelings. When we are speaking to someone, our tone of the voice conveys a lot of meaning. One may need to make a presentation at college or at work, or one may take the help of a slideshow to make presentations. In a formal setting, one will present oneself in a different way. But when you're chatting with your friends, with your family, cousins, siblings, one's presentation and totally tone, voice, etc. changes. To understand directions to a place or to understand the working of a new gadget, one could give or receive instructions, or to extend invitations to dignitaries for an event. These are day to day situations where we are using interpersonal communication. Sending text messages to each other, chatting through WhatsApp or Facebook or other similar platforms is also a way of communicating. It is a very complex process which can be described in simplified terms by a sender and a receiver who exchange meaningful messages which are containing ideas, which are containing mixed emotions, and is understood by both. It occurs in various contexts and is addressed in subfields within the communication studies as intercultural communication, organizational communication, health communication, computer mediated communication, and so on. After all, interpersonal relationships exist in all these contexts. Nowadays, you will find WhatsApp groups on which families, friends, professionals are connected for the purpose of communication. These members could be scattered all over the globe. Sharing happiness, updating each other through pictures, videos is very common. It is very interesting to have all the family members scattered all across the globe and yet be connected at an instant. Interpersonal communication is woven so intricately in our lives that it is literally inseparable. Let's now look at some definitions on interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication can be defined as the process by which people exchange information, feelings, and meaning through verbal and nonverbal messages. Interpersonal communication skills can be broadly defined as those skills one needs to communicate effectively with another person or a group of people. Several authors have identified the number of skills that one requires for interpersonal interactions. Let us list these skills. Firstly, self awareness. Self awareness is being aware of one's own feelings, being in control of oneself, and being in control of the language one is using to communicate. Effective listening. Effective listening is a very crucial part because you are listening and accordingly responding the way you are intended to be responding. Questioning. You are thinking about the content and you are forming a question about the content, and there is exchange or there is communication. Oral communication. Helping or facilitating. So you are providing a support to the others. So you are helping or facilitating people express You are extending sometimes a shoulder for a friend to cry on, or that's also a very essential part of communication. Reflecting upon one's own words. Sometimes you say something and then you reflect upon what you've said. Introspection. Assertiveness is another important skill, being honest in expressing one's own thoughts, feelings, or showing respect for other people's feelings, wants, and needs. The next point is nonverbal communication through knowledge and awareness of interpersonal communication, which empowers individuals. It affects their personal success, happiness, close friendships, romantic relationships, or rapport with siblings are maintained or destroyed through interpersonal interactions. Effective communication can be a cause for success or failure in marriage. It also determines professional success to a great extent, from presenting oneself at interviews, leading at meetings, making presentations, and so on. The ability to communicate well interpersonally is widely recognized as being very crucial to professional success. Hence, strong interpersonal skills and communication helps an individual to develop a good rapport with colleagues, friends, family, and perform better at many parameters at work. The nature of interpersonal communication is summarized in the points given below. It involves interdependent individuals. We depend on each other for communication, and that process is transactional. It is inherently rational. It involves verbal and non-verbal messages. It exists on a continuum. It's never ending, it goes on. It is transactional. It exists in varied forms, like the forms that we mentioned. It could be a letter, it could be a non-verbal gesture. It could be existing in many varied forms. It involves choices, the choices you make to communicate a particular message, the way you want to communicate something to a person. So it depends on the choice of the medium. Interpersonal communication takes place continuously and makes the communicator aware and conscious of the process of communication. Thus, one is sending verbal or non-verbal messages continuously. Its nature is transactional, which means that the sender and receiver both gain something out of every episode of communication. Both stand to gain or lose or learn out of each other's experience. It may leave the communicator richer by sharing knowledge, like learning a new recipe or learning a new song, a new instrument, learning a new language. Interpersonal communication is situated in a particular setting which affects how these messages are produced and how they are interpreted and how they are coordinated. The culture of a place, one's attitudes, behavior, social and economic status of people interacting with each other, and at the level at which this communication is taking place affects this transaction. It is indexical, depending upon trust, intimacy, or control that we have with the receiver. The degree of communication is going to vary. One may have a high degree of faith in certain people. For example, kings had certain secret informers upon whom their degree of trust was very high. One may be very comfortable sharing a personal incident with a friend with whom you have a high degree of trust and intimacy. But with another individual who is a stranger, one is not comfortable. This affects the degree of communication between the communicators. A rapport between the counselor and a counselee would have a high degree of communication, as it is required to resolve the issues for which this counselee is seeking consultation. The purpose of interpersonal communication include sharing of meaning, meeting social goals, managing personal identity, and conducting relationships. Meaning is the significance that the sender and the receiver attach to the message, and shared meaning occurs when the receiver's interpretation of the message is similar to what is intended by the speaker. The communication setting is the background condition surrounding an interaction. Noise is any stimulus that interferes with the shared meaning. There are three types of noise: external noise, internal noise, and semantic noise. External noise are the sounds or the sights which draw attention or distract the receiver from the meaning which is intended, like horns or sound of vehicles, drums, etc. Internal noise could be thoughts and feelings that are interfering with the communication process. Either one is worrying about a situation or one is lost in one's own thoughts and inattentive to the speaker. Semantic noise here means distractions which are caused due to the message being incomprehensible. Either an accent which is not understood, or a dialect, or the content not being understood by the receiver. At this point, I would like to draw your attention to a very important aspect of social media and interpersonal communication. We are using social media technologies extensively to facilitate interaction and communication. It keeps individuals connected in a social network. Facebooking, tweeting, texting are day to day terms used by us today. There are several traits in social media technology. Interactivity. Interactivity refers to the ability of a communication tool to facilitate social interaction between groups or people. Temporal structure refers to the time it takes to send or receive messages and the time that elapses during a communication interaction. Social cues are verbal or non-verbal aspects of the message which provide richness to the context and the meaning of the message. Emoticons that we find in our WhatsApp messengers are examples of social cues. Social media tools allow messages to be stored and spread across various platforms. Reach of social media messages connect people in distant places. They offer a wide mobility due to the portability of gadgets, internet, and ability to access from anywhere. So these are the several traits of social media technology. Let us look at the types of interpersonal communication. They vary depending on the number of participants in this process. For example, dyadic communication, which involves two people. Example, two friends talking, maybe a husband and wife chatting, or a child negotiating for a bar of chocolate with a parent. Direct interpersonal communication involves direct face-to-face relationship between the sender and the receiver of the message, who are interdependent in the relationship. Because of the interpersonal communications, immediacy, it is taking place now. And the primacy, because it's taking place here. It is characterized by a strong feedback component. Communication is enhanced when the relationship exists over a long period of time. Interpersonal communication involves not only words but different elements of nonverbal communication. The purpose of interpersonal communication are to influence, to help, and to discover, or to share and to play together. Interpersonal communication can be categorized by a number of participants. Direct communication involves two people. For example, two friends talking, husband and wife chatting, child negotiating for a bar of chocolate with a parent. Group communication, it involves three or more persons. Though communication scholars are inconsistent as to the top end of the number scale. The smaller the number in the group, the more close this interpersonal communication is. Often group communication is done for the purpose of problem solving or decision making or brainstorming of ideas. For example, friends involved in a group study or a music class with a teacher and a few students. A meeting between a managing committee members of a cooperative housing society. Then we could move to public communication. Public communication involves large group with primarily one-way monologue style of generating only minimal feedback. For example, a leader addressing a large group of people for his party canvassing. Information sharing, entertainment, persuasion are common purposes of public communication. For example, a managing director addressing a huge number of employees. Another way of categorizing interpersonal communication is on the function or the setting of the communication. Organizational communication deals with communication between or within the large organizations, such as businesses. This is sometimes considered as a part of group communication, but communication scholars have built up a body of knowledge primarily focusing on organizations. For example, work focused discussion between two colleagues or a boss and a subordinate. That will come under organizational communication. Family communication focuses on communication patterns between nuclear or extended or blended families. Like organizational communication, this too is sometimes seen as a category of group communication. But family communication can be enhanced by the long standing and the close relationships among the participants, as well as the likelihood that families have shared heritage, similar values, social rituals. Patterns differ in communication between spouses, between parent and child relationships, among siblings, a relationship between a mother in law and a daughter in law, and within the wider context of the family. Conversation during a get together. So, all these will come under family communication. Let us now look at ethics and interpersonal communication. Ethics and interpersonal communication go hand in hand, and it's a very important part of interpersonal communication. They are linked to each other. Ethics is a set of moral principles held by a society or group of people. Ethical principles guide interpersonal communication. Truthfulness, honesty are ethical principles that compel one to maintain consistency in belief and action. It is important to be fair in action with regard to one's own feeling and the other side of the conflict. It is ethical to show regard or respect for the other person's point of view and rights, even if one may or may not agree. When a communicator regards ethical standards, one is accountable for their own actions. To be empathetic or understanding feelings of others from their point of view is also a trait shown by ethical communication. How could we improve our interpersonal communication skills? Here are a few suggestions to improve one's interpersonal communication skills. There is always scope for one to be better at interpersonal communication. People need to practice these skills that are appropriate for certain situations, that are effective enough to meet the goal of the situation. A typical communication consists of more than 50% of nonverbal communication, which includes body language. So be aware of this and convey positive body language. Be a good listener. Give attention and time and thoughts that will aid interpersonal communication. Consistent eye contact during the conversation shows interest and availability of the listener. So, to summarize this session, interpersonal communication is a process of exchanging messages between people and who mutually influence each other in unique ways that are relevant to social and cultural norms. It may have many implications for us in this real world. Besides making relations and health better, interpersonal communications are also highly sought after by potential employers. Interpersonal communication needs meet our basic human needs for security, social bonds, health, careers. But we are not born with these skills, so we can always practice them and be better at it. Thank you.